Internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Miss Couture, and today is another Color Wheel Monday, the series in which I make my way through color theory one color at a time. So what we've done so far in this series is that we have completed the primary color triangle and we're working our way through the secondary colors. So what we've done in the secondary colors is we've worked our electric violet all together, it's all done, and we are working our way through blazing orange. So we've already added the yellow, and today we're going to be adding our fire engine red to see what's going on. And there's not much that's going to be happening, I'm not going to lie, but we have our favorite cameo at the end, finally. So let's get into this. Hello and welcome back to Color Wheel Monday, the series in which I make my way through color theory one color at a time. So what we've done so far is we've done the primary colors, and now we're working the secondary colors. We've done electric violet, and now we are working our way through blazing orange. So last week we added brilliant yellow to our blazing orange, and today we're going to be adding fire engine red. So first thing we need to do is create a stock solution. What is a stock solution, you may ask? It is the concentrate liquid form of our dye powder. So basically what you need to do, a 1% stock solution, which is what we're going to do, is 1 gram per 100 milliliter of water. So we're going to do the fire engine red because we already have our blazing orange. So first thing you need to do before doing anything with open jars, put your respirator on. You do not have to use this specific one, but you need to have something to protect your lungs. You only have one pair of lungs, please protect them. So let's put this on. Okay. So always make sure that your scale is at 0. And now we're going to calculate 1 gram. There we go. Good job. Oh my god, I'm talking to a toddler. And the toddler is me. Okay, let's add some water. So, for some reason, the reds I have makes clumps. Oh wait, this is liquid now. I can remove my respirator. It's going to be a little easier to talk to you now. Okay, so for some reason, some of my reds creates clumps. This one is not as bad as Poinsettia from Dharma, but I don't know why specifically red creates those sort of clots. There we go. So we have 100 milliliter. Perfect. Last stir. So the main reason I'm using those specific colors from Dharma Trading Co. is because they have a starter pack with primary colors in it. And I think it's important to understand how colors interact with each other, so that way you don't have to purchase a bunch of dry powders, because you sort of understand how you can create your own colors at home. So it's very convenient to be able to purchase already pre-mixed colors. Don't get me wrong. However, you have less control over the formulas when you are working with powders directly from someone else, because you don't know what's in them, and they do reformulate their powders when something becomes unavailable, or if some things become too expensive due to a lot of reason. So it's a good idea to learn how to do those things, especially because sometimes, flashback to 2020, there was like shortage of the dry powders because some pigments were just not available due to the world closing down. So it's always good to understand how colors interact to each other and being able to recreate colors for you, for your personal usage. So what I'm doing right now is adding 10 milliliter of my blazing orange into those jars, because I want to have a 1% depth of shade for them. And since we're using 10 gram mini skeins of fingering stroll from Knit Pick, I need 10 milliliter of my 1% stock solution. Okay, so we have roughly 350 milliliter of tap water in them. There is no citric acid right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to be adding the Fire Engine Red from 0.5% depth of shade up to 1% depth of shade over there. So we can see how it will affect our color. Because some colors are more potent than others, so it's always a good idea to see and understand how they interact with each other. Because this is how life works. So yeah, if you just interested in starting dyeing, getting a starter pack is a really good way to do it, so that you can experiment a little bit more. And when you feel like you want to explore other colors, there is other colors that to explore. Okay, so now we're going to be adding the yarn. And I like to do 10-gram mini skeins because it's easier for me to do the math. You want a 1% stuck solution, like what depth of shade for that color? Well, 10 milliliter of 1% stuck solution. So that's pretty good. So if you were to just calculate with grams, a 1% depth of shade for a 10-gram mini skeins would be 0.10 gram. So that makes life easy for me to do my formulas and calculation, because I don't necessarily work with stock solution that I've made in advance. I like to work from fresh. So sometimes what I will do is just, when I'm doing those experiments, I will use stock solution, but I prefer to calculate what I need, so I don't feel like I'm wasting my powder, sort of. I don't know if it makes sense. So we want to open up the mini skeins to ensure that we don't have too much resistance. We're removing and moving up and down from the zip ties to ensure that we don't create resist on the mini skeins. So this is what we're doing right now. And it almost looks like, I think it's Safety Vest, the name of the color for the fluorescent pigment, I think. But there's no fluorescent pigment in this one. But it's fine. We like it. Okay. There we go. So there's no citric acid because I like to give a chance to the color to go and penetrate the color as much as possible before we start adding the citric acid in the heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding this into the pan, to the double boiler, and I'll see you in there. Okay, so I still don't have any citric acid in here. We're going to be waiting 10 to 15 minutes before adding any citric acid, so that way we can get the water to warm up a little bit and just give it a little chance to get to the temperature that we need, because we need the water to be between 85 to 95 Celsius for the color to settle and set. So, whoop-de-doo. We're going to be waiting 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll come back to add the citric acid. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, so it's time for us to be adding the citric acid. The rule of thumb is usually about 1 tablespoon per 454 grams, so 1 pound of fiber or yarn. So in this case, since we only have like 10 gram of fiber, less, like a quarter of a teaspoon is plenty enough for what you're going to do. So once we've reached the 85 to 95 Celsius, this is when we will be doing the countdown for 30 minutes. Usually when I'm doing variegated colors, I don't need to wait that long because the water there's less water, so there's less volume, so it warms up quicker. So it's usually 30 minutes from the last color added, but you also need to take into consideration the water and make sure that it's at the right temperature. So we're almost at the 85 Celsius, so I'm thinking that in half an hour to 45 minutes we will see each other again. So see you in a minute. Okay, it's been half an hour and we are looking good. Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the heat and then we're going to let it completely cool off before washing off the excess dyes. So I will see you in a little bit. And here I was expecting to have some bleeding because we have blazing orange and fire engine red in the same dye bath. So I was expecting a tiny bit of bleeding at least, but we've been pretty lucky. So I'll be able to show you in just an instant that we had clear bath, which I was very happy, especially with the colors that we were working for. So here, like, I don't show you the whole thing, but like what I usually do is I put my skeins and I just let them soak for like at least 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm cutting it down a lot here because I don't think you would find it interesting to see the dye bath for 15 minutes. So yeah, so I did cut a lot of it, and like we didn't hardly had any sorts of bleeding too much. I just wanted to rinse it off just to make sure that I was right. So we are going to let it put in the spin tray and let it dry overnight. And like you can see, no colors or barely any hint. So that's fun. And here's the final result of adding fire engine red to our brilliant orange. No, not brilliant, blazing orange. So yeah, let's just say it's just deepened the orange, make it slightly more red, especially towards the end. So I wouldn't say it was a complete waste of my time because it does help understand that the proportion of your colors will create deeper colors or lighter colors. So it's not a total write-off for me. It's just that, it's orange. What can I say? So if you want like an orange that is more warm, add more red to it. So that's pretty much, there's not much to discuss here. It's just, look at the difference with when we did add the yellow to our fire engine red. Like, it's pretty much the same colors. So I would say that for those ones, play with your primary colors before playing with a secondary color and your primary color, and like you'll be fine. For those ones, definitely just play with your oh gosh, I can't speak. Just play with your primary colors for those ones. And with that, oh, hi Zoe. And there she is. I know you've missed her last week, so I'm glad to say that she's here now. So if you've liked the video, please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Bye!